All right. I think we're live. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, nobody's watching, but this is my first live stream of me building my dream budgeting app. So this is pretty cool. Um, because this is the first, a lot of this is really just setup, experimenting, trying to figure out how any of this works. I really did not anticipate that I would be doing this, but I figured I'd give it a try. So here we are. Um, yeah, so we're vibe coding. We're vibe coding with Claude. We're vibe coding inside of VS Codium, and we're building a native Electron app. Um, and actually, I've already started the project. I started this about 3 weeks ago, so we actually already have a decent amount here. So it's not like a day one. Um, but we do have a lot to work on. So there's going to be no shortage of content and updates coming as far as this app goes, because I have a lot of ideas um, that I want to implement for this. So quick rundown. Yeah, Claude, VS Codium. I like this environment. I know that there's a lot of more like agentic environments out there. Um, but I'm actually really familiar with this as somebody who did a lot of hobby website development in VS Codium. So this feels at home. I may switch, but for right now, I like this a lot. I've been using Claude. I might start using ChatGPT. I know they just released their new model. I don't have any crazy plans or anything. I've actually found that the Claude Pro plan has been sufficient. I do run into caps or reaching the limits when I do large refactors, but as far as just developing and adding features and getting things to work, um, the Pro plan has been completely sufficient. So I've built all of this on the Pro plan so far, and it's like I said, we've actually have quite a good foundation here for just 2 weeks. Definitely not something I could have done by myself in 2 weeks. So a little bit more about the project. What are we building here? We're building my dream finance app, and I actually already kind of have like a website going for it. Again, this was also vibe coded with Claude, but with a lot of human intervention because AI sucks at UI. And I'm not saying that this is the greatest UI you'll ever see on a website, but it's way better than what the AI is always trying to spit out. It's always trying to put those stupid little eyebrows on top of everything. Um, and it's got all these quirks that it just doesn't want to deviate from, no matter how hard I prompt it. So yeah, this would be a good way to explain the app. So it's a private personal budgeting and finance app. Yeah, there's a lot of finance apps out there, but one the big thing is they're not personal, they're not private, they're not local. I take my privacy pretty seriously. I know that's kind of antithetical to the fact that I'm streaming all of this, but um, as far as just my data ownership and being able to self-custody my data, that's basically what I take seriously. And I really don't want to trust Plaid. I don't want to trust all these other finance apps to hold my credentials, hold my account, um, and hold my financial data. Second of all, the idea for this app, I do think it'll be monetized. I do kind of want to monetize it and share it with people. But I hate subscriptions. I hate them with a passion, and they are definitely counterproductive to my mission, which is to create something that helps you keep track of your finances and hopefully make money over time and grow your net worth. So subscriptions are the antithesis of growing your net worth because they constantly draw from you. So this will be absolutely subscription free. Right now, it's just free. The beta, it's in beta. If you just want to go grab it and just download the latest versions as I release them and test it out and give feedback, that'd be great. As far as the price for 1.0 release, I don't know when the 1.0 release will be. Probably won't be that far into the future, to be honest. But and the price, it's going to be pretty affordable. I mentioned the big thing. If you look at all the competition, I won't name them, but if you look up, you know, personal finance budgeting apps, there's like three that will come up, and these are all going to cost you like $100 a year, which to me is absolutely insane. So the price of whatever this is going to be less than $100, and it's going to be a one-time payment. So there'll be no subscription. Absolutely, definitely keeping that promise. So, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe it won't go that way, but I just figured why not? Build the app that I want, and then if other people want it, I can share it. And if other people don't want it, no big deal. It's still something I need because my bank and my these other apps are not the solution for me anyway. So, quick rundown of that. So yeah, let me look at my to-do list for what I want to accomplish today. It's not going to be a super long stream, I don't think, but there are some things that I want to implement and test. Yesterday, there it is. Yeah, we have a big old to-do list, but of course this is just in general. Yeah, what do we want to take on today? So yesterday I did a quick audit of the code base. Quick disclaimer, yeah, vibe coding is definitely the future, 100%. I don't think we're quite to the point where we should just ignore the code base though. We're very close. And honestly, for a project like this, because I intend for it to be completely local and offline, there'll be absolutely no calls to the internet or servers or anything like that. You can get away with some things, but I'm not going to try to. That's not my real intention. And so when I first spun this up, there was absolutely no project folder. So if you start vibe coding and you're like, okay, I just dropped Claude into VS Code, build me my dream app, it will start building you an app, and it will all be a mess. It'll be disgusting. It'll be unmaintainable. Even with Fable, even with Opus 4.8. Opus 4.8 is what I initially started with, and it'll look disgusting. So one thing I highly recommend is if you're going to kind of follow along and try to build something yourself with a similar setup, definitely get your skills out of the way first. So if we zoom in, this looks disgusting, but just bear with me. That's worse. So in the project structure itself, you can see Claude has its own .claude folder, and it has a skills folder. And so you'll create a folder for each of your skills, and then you'll add a skill.md file inside of all of those. So skills are a great way to sort of add pre-context to how you want the AI to behave as you're performing an action. In this case, we're vibe coding, right? So there's things that I want it to do always as persistent background context whenever it does anything in my project. So, for example, I have a UI UX design skill here. So as we're building out this project, whether the website or the app itself, I want it to reference a UI UX design skill to sort of guide it on how it should behave. And this is what that skill looks like. It's literally like a prompt. It's text. It's asking. It's a prompt. It's text. It's asking the AI what to do. So when building or modifying anything visual, hold to these standards. They are default, not suggestions. Deviate only with a deliberate reason. Spacing for 4-pixel scale. So this is an important concept in UI UX design. It basically makes sure that everything is on a grid. and that everything aligns with that grid. And so spacing looks consistent everywhere. It's very pleasing to the eye. It's easy to design for. It's easy to maintain. Um, and that's exactly what we want. Hierarchy to understand visual hierarchy, type scale, weight and color, contrast and white space, stuff like that, and so on. So I have some other things here. It's not super verbose. I don't think it's, worth putting too much effort into specifically the UI one because again, AI really just struggles with UI. Even things like Fable. Um, if you ask it to do a UI task, even with a skill like this, when you look at it, it's gonna look like AI made it. That's just how it is for now. It'll get better, but for right now, that's what it is. It is what it is. I do have something in here for token optimization. It's pretty small. Really, the token optimization is on you as the human. That'll come up later as we just kind of work through the project or whatever. But here's some nice defaults. It's nice. And then I have some engineering, performance optimization, and security policies as well. So that's sort of the foundation for the project. When I first spun it up, yeah, it was a complete mess. It was unmaintainable. It was not human readable. And so I did a refactor. I created those skills, did a refactor, and said, please make this a human readable, maintainable repository for a world-class app. And it did, I think, a pretty good job. And that's also kind of when we settled on using Electron um, as the way that we're going to deploy this. So I like Electron. I like HTML. I like CSS because I like web development. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really know much JavaScript. So, um, and what little JavaScript I knew for, my hobby web development, I was by no means a professional. I already having it write things that are way over my head. So there is a level of there is some vibe coding going on for sure. That being said, I'm still familiar with best practices. Some of them. Again, I'm not a professional um, of programming in general, so I can tell when something is being sloppy and something is resembling something of structure and competency here. So I know some of you might be JavaScript engineers and you may look at, the JavaScript code and you might be like, wow, that looks terrible. And you would probably be right, but I think it's not worth getting too attached to because the models are going to get better. They're going to write better JavaScript. And for the project that we're on now, being that it's going to be offline and local, it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, if you were coding like an operating system or a full-blown SaaS platform or something like that, I would say, you know, yeah, it should probably be reading the code here. But we're definitely going to dive into the code. I do want to understand. I don't just want to completely dismiss it. I really like understanding things, which is why I also have the AI purposely put verbose comments inside everything that it writes so that I can kind of go through either online or offline and kind of understand what it's doing. So I remember when I wrote this, so I wanted the multi-selection um, as a feature in the app. I'll show you what that looks like. If you go to a statement, if you go to balance sheet, you can select multiple cells. It behaves like a spreadsheet. So I prompted it for that and then added comments as to what it does. Um, and it was surprisingly straightforward. I was like, oh, interesting. So I know that I probably don't understand as much as I think I do when I'm looking at this. Um, but I just thought that was really cool that, it put those comments there and, I was able to sort of learn a little bit. I'm trying to follow along here. So I know a lot of vibe coders, they don't bother looking at the code. It's fine, whatever. But me, I like to know how things work. So we'll be looking at the code as we go along this journey. So Right. So yesterday I did a quick um, audit of the code base. Again, not really necessary, but I just kind of want. I feel like there's some value in getting into the habit of this sort of thing. So I had prompted it. I wonder if I have the prompt saved. Yeah. Uh, no. Um, I mean, yeah, we added some comments, but I don't know where that other session went. But anyway, I had to just go through the code and be like, hey, can you just double check for engineering excellence? Can you make sure that this is following JavaScript best practices and principles, that we're being memory efficient, that we're following all the rules for JavaScript here. And it said that we were actually doing pretty good. Now that's it grading its own work. I realize that. But it's still better than not asking it at all. Because if you don't ask it at all, it will just make it'll make shit up. Let's be honest. It'll just make stuff up and um, start veering off track and getting sloppy. So I actually think it's going really well. The app itself is pretty snappy, pretty nice. This is what we have so far. I can blow this up. We haven't actually seen this yet. So this is the app, right? And it's pretty straightforward. And I like it. I like it a lot so far. This is something that I really want. UI wise, there's work to do. Trust me. This is not the final form. Um, but it is definitely moving in the direction that I want it to. So I'm really happy about it. The basic rundown of how the app works is that it's um, basically entirely driven, but also not dependent on a transaction import. So the idea is that in order to achieve, truly offline, not integrated or anything like that, um, the solution that I found so far is to just do bank exports. Every bank has exports, and you can export usually a good chunk of data, so you can get your app caught up by exporting like the last 2 years of data. In some cases, I had one bank that only went back 3 months, and that drove me insane. I don't have that bank anymore. And then the other bank went back like 5 years, which was awesome. That was fantastic. So this is just fake data. This is not my data, but I did have Claude in a separate instance because I don't want him cheating. I had a separate instance, him whip up just a fake transaction CSV and made it purposely messy. And the app imported it and did automatic categorization, and it shows you the amounts. You can also add notes if you want to. Um, and then it takes those transactions and does calculations and gives you your dashboards. So it's pretty straightforward. I can actually just show you what it looks like here. This is what we're doing. So within the software itself, we can do file, do a new database. So we'll just browse, and we'll just drop it in documents here, and we'll call it stream example DB. Looks good. And we won't encrypt it, but you do have the option to encrypt it. And we'll click create. Cool. And so you have an empty piece of software here. Everything is blank and empty. When you're on your home, though, it'll kind of give you some ideas of where to go. It's like, okay, there's no activity. Let's add some transactions. So we'll go to transactions. No transactions yet. Import transactions. Cool. So let's do that. And then we'll go to downloads. We'll go to the Claude 5-year transaction CSV. Select. And as you can see, it gives you a quick preview of what you can expect things to look like. So it found a description, a column, and here's all your descriptions. It found category, amount, and notes. So all you have to do is just map to make sure that these look right. So date is equal to date, That's good. Description is equal to description. That's good. Amount, notes, notes. This file has its own category, it appears, because it's right there, but we don't necessarily need to use that because it's going to do it for us automatically. Though, I suppose I could add that. I doubt banks auto categorize it. I know Claude did, but I know like my banks, they don't do that. So it's probably best that we leave that out actually. Anyway, so here is your huge transaction list, 5 years of transactions. That's awesome. You can go in and like unselect one if you're like, oh yeah, I don't need that. Like maybe there's like a note that's just like, oh, this was just a transfer or something. Okay, cool. Just not do that. But otherwise, it selects it all for you. It tells you how many rows, and then you can just click import. Cool. And it gives you this pop-up. I don't know if that's hard to see. Probably You gotta be. There's no way. And the user opposite cascade change to fuzzy management. Yeah, we're gonna remove it. Yeah, so the goal is that there'll be a checkbox here, and it'll take us to the next modal, and if it's checked, we'll be able to do the fuzzy finder slider. Results will update in real time as we slide, and then we confirm everything. Next, summary of changes, save all changes. That should integrate the whole thing, I think. This will be just for category. Because we don't want to update like the amounts and all that. That would be a disaster. Yeah, we'll see. Claude is cooking. Um, App.com. Yep, this all looks good. Getting some. Open up a new instance real quick. I wanted to investigate. Yeah, I'm getting some errors. really need auto approval. Looks nice. Yeah, sometimes I really don't like to have like a bunch of changes going at once. I like to just let them work on one. Um, but depending on which things we're working on, you can have concurrent um, sessions going. It's not going to create conflicts, but I just like to do it one thing at a time here because again, I still want to drive. I still want to be in control of this bus here, so to speak. And real quick, we're not going to start a new session, but I'd like to just track my usage. Oh yeah, we're doing good. It's not too bad. I mean, these are pretty heavy. This one's a heavy lift, and only at 30%. Hopefully, won't need to um, use much more Fable here. Because like I said, this is just the pro plan. I might get a max plan. I don't know. I mean, $100 a month. I think I'd rather just get another $20 plan from OpenAI. Then I'm only spending $40 a month. Um, and that's probably enough usage as I need for this app, to be honest. But we'll see. I also do like the idea of having two different models. There's some benefits you can get from that. How do you want to handle the Aventurine working directory before I continue investigating Sky is currently in detached. I was showing unexplained local modifications. Um, yeah, just look at the diff. Guess you don't want to be poking around while it's cooking. Trying to see what else is on the to-do list that we might work on today. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're probably just gonna focus on fine tuning this. Might be the focus for the next few sessions here, because I would like to get that auto categorization up if possible. There's a couple ways we can do that. Didn't think the investigation would be that deep. I mean, the errors are just like they're right here. What are you doing, Claude? Hmm. Pretty cool. Yeah, Claude will just launch an instance and play with it. That's pretty cool to see. Sometimes it pops up when you're not expecting it, though. Which is also why I don't like doing a bunch of concurrent agents. I like the fact that Claude's trying to run those tests. I don't want him to not do that. I don't know to what extent um, some more like agentic programming platforms or whatever limit or allow for some of those things or some of those behaviors, but um, I like it. So it is helpful for the UI side of things because Claude will often like take like a screenshot, store the temporary screenshot, um, and do comparisons. And so if you offer Claude like a UI design, like please make my table look like this, he'll do a screenshot, compare it, bring it up to a screenshot to verify the work and all that. So it's pretty good. Again, I know UI is still not great, but definitely better than when you don't have that. Okay, cool. We got a summary. New flow. Step 1. Edit your existing modal. The footer gains the checkbox. Find similar transactions. Save all changes is now next. Checkbox off. Jump straight to a review change step. Each edited transaction is listed with its change field as old. New unchanged rows are just counted behind one save all changes button. Okay. Checkbox is on. Opens the new find similar transaction modal. A match strength slider at the top, always defaulting to 80. Over a live list of candidate matches grouped under will become category headers with per row and per group checkboxes. Okay. Dragging the slider requeries in real time, debounce to 50 milliseconds. Stale response dropped. Its next leads to the same review step, which additionally summarizes the cascade. Coffee shops apply to two similar transactions. Every step has a back button. Nice. Okay, that's actually smart. I didn't even think of that. So it added that back button for me. That's nice. And your edits survive going back and forth. Sweet. Sweet. Thank you, Claude. Decisions you made along the way reflected in the build. Category is the only thing that cascades. Match froze get category type. Get the category, type follows it. Date, amounts, descriptions, and notes are never touched, like that. I doubt people will ever touch this. Because there's just no need to, especially descriptions. And I'd like to get to the point where the descriptions are concatenated to just like a normal human readable like merchant title instead of the actual description, or at least it's like added, like there's an extra column that just says Kroger, and then the actual description is something that isn't shown but it's preserved and you can pull it up and see like the code, the merchant code or whatever. Because we want to make this as like clean, human readable, beautiful ledger as possible. All transactions are candidates. Already categorized rows appear in the match. Yep, that's nice. Great. Settings slider removed. Yep, we don't need that in the settings anymore. Similar endpoint. Takes threshold. Okay, the TX setting is gone from the API. See, nice. Okay. Fix auto match now always runs its fixed strict 92 bar. Governed solely by the automatic registration on off toggle. Its settings description was rewarded accordingly. Was the fuzzy match a dependency on the auto categorization from import? Because the slider was always set to 100 and that and the behavior didn't seem to take that into account or like it was related at all. I don't think it was, but if it was, that's weird. Because the old wiring was generally misleading. There was two separate matchers and the slider fully controlled one, but only gated the other. The interactive categorized similar lookup found after you categorized a row. Now the wizard's match step, share the slider. The learned rules auto match on import create. Right, okay, when the fuzzer was allowed matching. Learned rules only for descriptions you previously categorized on. The hidden coupling is now severed. Import time fuzzy matching of learned rules always runs at the strict 92 bar whenever automatic creation is on. No slider gate. And the wizard slider is purely an interactive search bar sent per request. So the one behavior change for someone who never touched the old slider. Imports will also now catch near identical descriptions. Starbucks versus space style noise. Get your learned rules instead of exact only. With the ambiguous leave blank guard so it stays on the never confidently wrong side. Okay, well, let's just see how it looks here. That makes sense, but we may need to tweak that behavior because we want like a default experience when a brand new user makes a new database and doesn't import, but we also want a learned behavior on the part of the app where it's like, oh yeah, you categorize this as this. So in the future, when we continue to take in imports, like if somebody has like a monthly export ritual, um, then it automatically categorizes it. So we'll have to see what that looks like. Um, okay, let's take a look. Utility bill. This is Utilities. Find similar. Next. Or let's just, Okay. What the? What happened there? Okay. That's not great. We can fix that though. Yeah, it shouldn't. Okay. That's fine. We'll just update that in a second. Um, okay, utilities. Ooh, ay. Oh, man. Oh, yikes. Ugh. Okay. All right. Okay. In regard to the changes, I need 2 updates from you. One, make it so the user can't click out of the modal just by clicking on the other parts of the screen. They should only be allowed to leave if they click the X in the top right of the modal. Because you wouldn't want to make changes and all to just misclick and then lose them all. That would suck. And then 2, um, the modal resizes itself in the fuzzy matching section depending on the results, and it also refreshes the whole modal, even for each new slide or query. Please change the behavior so that only the table below refreshes, not only the table in the modal refreshes, not the whole modal, and make it so that the modal is a fixed height and does not change. Let me just double check. Um, whoops. Utilities. Good thing I added that back button. Okay. Okay. Um, and we kind of need it this way because if there's multiple. Okay. We will solve that one step at a time here. So the modal is fixed height. Uh, the height it currently maxes out at. There we go. Let's see what we got. This should be better. And then the build errors. Let me see if I can just pull one of these. Of course. Okay. Can I just copy this? Good grief. Here is the error in my repo. Good luck with that. Okay. Oh, okay. Found it. Nice. Thank you. Just keep going. Every time. How? Okay. All right, we got updates. Let's check it out. All right. Utility bill. Edit. I mean, this is fine. I mean, it created all of this space for this modal, but it's fine. I don't know if that's like, it's not a deal breaker. That looks good. Next. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, that's so much better. Look at that. Quads of genius. Yep. Love it. That's perfect. That's exactly what we need. Okay, and so let's look at all these. That looks good. Does it, okay, 66. Yeah, so the user can kind of meaningfully, and now it's like, oh, what is this, right? Maple Street LLC apartments. Yeah, that's not it. So I feel like this is good. This is, we've created confidence. Next category, similar transaction, save all changes. Looks good. Name, util. Yep, phenomenal. And then yeah, we go to categories, go to statements. Turn on the sync all utilities. That is now properly categorized. There you go. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. That's really good. I like it. For real. Yeah. No, I'm happy with that. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see here. Yeah. We're gonna do a quick break here, and then I'll probably get on here shortly to do some more edits. We got a lot of work to do on this app, but it's coming together, and it's turning into something that I think is going to not just be a solution just for me, but I think you know this could solve some problems for a lot of people. So anyway, I will catch you all later. Thank you. Bye.